welcome to Ones to Watch, powered by Football Index, where you bet on the football stock market by buying shares in the world's top players. I'm joined, as always, by our resident pundit, Alan McInally. How are we, Al?
Good, Emma. Thanks. Yes, you look lovely today, dear.
Well, we both got the blue memo, didn't we, eh?
Yeah, we've kind of like Evertoned up a little bit, haven't we?
Yeah. Right, let's get stuck straight into this then, because the first one is someone we've spoken about before on Football Index and Ones to Watch, Jack Grealish, 25 years of age, recently signed a new deal. And I know you're a fan of Jack, aren't you?
Yeah. Listen, yeah, I suppose a lot of people will be throwing stuff at their computer and phones is watching the same. We've done Jack Grealish, but I know he's one of my favourites. And again, he's quite topical. And I still think on our Football Index one to watches, sometimes we can add them one, more than just the one time because they are such an important A, player in their team and B, part of the national set. So he's not far away from controversy even, and being in the right place at the right time for Aston Villa. And again at the weekend, the game against West Ham for Aston Villa, he was part of, the whole shooting match that we like to watch.
It certainly was. Well, he's the most fouled player in the Premier League. That comes as no surprise. Let's have a look at his Premier League season so far then. Played 10 games, scored 5 goals and provided 5 assists. Do you think if he continues in this form, he's a starter for England?
Well, I think he proved over the last couple of games that I think he did enough to prove to Gareth Southgate when Gareth was leaving him out, he could have played him. It's as simple as that. I mean, he's such an important player. And the foul, let's pick up the foul thing. If you get the ball and you run with it and you drive at players, you're going to get fouled because teams are trying to pass through, play players in, timing of the runs, etc. Jack can do that as well in assists, but he likes to get the ball down and drive at people and take people on. There's not many players like that anymore. That's what we always used to love. Defenders don't like it, midfield players don't like it, and Jack does it really well. And the more he's on the ball, the more he's going to get fouled. And I know you're going to ask me about the situation about West Ham at the weekend, and we'll get to that. But I genuinely think the amount of time that Villa get him on the ball, and it's not just about him passing the ball into somebody, he likes to go and take responsibility, which I really like. And the more he does that, the more he'll get fouled. And unfortunately, maybe nowadays, it's a kind of scenario where if players get touched, they're happy to go down. And, the finger can get pointed at Jack. Fair enough, I'm okay with that, as long as he's not diving. And if he's getting fouled, then, he's getting into, certain circumstances where Villa can take set pieces and try and score goals, obviously.
Well, as you say, on that, the dive in the West Ham game then, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think he got touched. Again, although I do think, because it was a pretty innocuous thing that happened, I think he thinks he was away from the West Ham player, and I think he thinks that someone else has come in and kicked him. Now, there's definite contact, and listen, I'm a big fan, but I do think he didn't need to go down as dramatically as that. But there's still contact, and I suppose you can say, football players now, when they feel contact, they'll go down. I don't like that so much, but I think most of the time when he's fouled, it's not a genuine dive from Grealish. No way. I think he's been touched and he's taken advantage of a modern day situation. But the one at the weekend, I'd like to look, hopefully that even Jack can look and think, I probably didn't need to go down, to be honest. But hey, listen, there's contact there. It was a foul.
And just finally, Al, Jamie Carragher has drawn comparisons with Eden Hazard. Do you think he can reach that level, Jack?
Well, yeah. Well, there's not much I agree with Jamie Carragher. That's the first thing I've agreed with him in the last 3 years, Emma. And I think I probably said that about 6 months ago, to be fair. So he's probably listened to something I've said and then just spouted it out. I think Jamie's right. I think he's spot on because he is like that. Again, he's got a trick. He's good at assists. He takes players on. He's good at getting the ball in the box. He's also good at feigning that little pass and getting a shot on target. So if you were thinking of someone, who's he like? Who is he like? Who's he like? Probably Eden Hazard is as close. Same kind of stature. Pretty close to the ground and good balance, etc. And very good running with the ball. So yeah, I think so. Can he reach that level? Well, my goodness. I mean, Hazard was certainly a big part of the Chelsea team, as Jack is with Villa. Villa won't want to lose him. They've just given him a new contract. But could he end up at somewhere like Real Madrid? Well, if he keeps going in the trajectory he's going, then Villa will find it very difficult to hold on to him. But he's certainly a wonderful, wonderful football player, Jack Grealish.
Which is why he's our first one to watch this week. Feel free, as always, to have yours say in the comments below. Who's our second one to watch, Al?
I'm going to throw him in because I think this is an opportunity for him in the next 2 months to really cement a starting place at Manchester City. And it's Riyad Mahrez. Now, I know he spent a lot of money when he arrived a couple of years ago from Leicester, title winner, fantastic. I must admit, I was a little surprised. I didn't think that would be his destination at Man City, and I just don't know why. But he's shown he's been good. He's won a title at Man City. And over the next couple of months, I genuinely think, because I don't know, you'll probably tell me in a minute, but he's not been a definite starter for Man City. He really hasn't. But with the picking of the team and trying to get the right balance for Pep Guardiola at the moment in time, and the injuries that they've got, this is an unbelievable chance for Riyad Mahrez to prove to everybody that he was worth every penny that Man City spent on him.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, he's the sixth African player to reach 100 Premier League goal involvements, which is pretty impressive. And if you have a look at Riyad Mahrez for Man City, played 107 games, scored 29 goals, and provided 29 assists. And you mentioned that this is like a sort of really important time for him now. Do you think he's sort of growing in importance for that Man City team?
Yeah, I think so. I think he had a spell for maybe half a season where he really looked as if he was the business at Man City and fitted in brilliantly well with the likes of David Silva and De Bruyne. I know David is not there anymore. It was it was Sterling on one side and Mahrez on the other. And then I don't know what happened. His form dipped. He stopped scoring goals. He stopped that assist that he was good at. And he's kind of come back on the scene a little bit at the moment, but for the simple reason that, Pep's struggling to find his best 11 almost because of injuries and because of formation and new players coming into the team. So I just think that for Riyad Mahrez, genuinely, I mean, he's a good player. I mean, he's a really, really good player. But to play in Man City, you really have to be something special. And I just think this spell is a really good opportunity for him to remind everybody how good he is, and to his manager as well. Because Riyad Mahrez wants to play. He wants to score and he wants to assist. And this 2 months is big for Riyad Mahrez.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, he was rested midweek in the game against Porto. Do you think he's a certain starter in the Fulham game this weekend then?
Yeah, that's a good point, Emma. I think you've nailed that, because in terms of who Pep wants to play, and remember at the moment in time, maybe Man City scoring goals is not as much as a premium as they used to be. So he needs the best forward players, ready to go. And I think the fact that he didn't play against Porto, and they got the point they needed, to be fair, probably should have won the game. He wasn't needed, and I think that's genuinely the reason why you could probably think he's going to be a starter against Fulham. I'll be amazed if he doesn't start against Fulham. And City know that, it's maybe an opportunity. Having said that, Fulham with a wonderful result the other night, and they got a good win. We'll still expect to score a few goals past Fulham, and Man City will be looking for Mahrez to get on the score sheet.
Absolutely. Well, feel free, as always, to have your say in the comments below. Our third and final one to watch this week is Christian Eriksen, 28 years of age, joined Inter from Spurs in January. And you're a fan of Christian Eriksen, aren't you?
Well, it was one of my favourite players. I think you and I have actually probably spoken about him because, he was, as a midfield player in the Premiership, he was certainly in the top 5, 6, 7, whatever it might have been. And then things kind of didn't work out. He decided he didn't want a new contract. And I thought he might go to Spain. I thought that's where his destination was going to be. Next thing, he turns up at Inter Milan, and it hasn't worked. It just simply has not worked. He didn't play the other night there. He was on the bench against Mönchengladbach. Didn't even get on. Inter Milan won the game 3-2 in Germany. And you just wonder, how can Eriksen not be playing as, leaving the Premiership as one of the best midfield players? It really is I don't understand it. And like I said, you and I have definitely spoken about it before. It's maybe me that's forcing the case where I just thought he was so good and so important to a team. Can't get in the Inter Milan team, so I wonder whether he'll come back to the Premiership.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, if we have a look at Christian Eriksen for Inter Milan, in all competitions, he's played 35 games, scored 4 goals and provided 3 assists. And that kind of echoes what you said there, Al, because, playing with Lukaku, for example, his assist number should really be higher, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, what did you say? 3 assists for Christian Eriksen. Never mind the goal situation, whether he's taking free kicks or whether he's coming late into the box with a brilliant top man in Lukaku who holds the ball up well, takes defenders out of the game and creates space. But, sitting on the bench, he's not going to score many goals or get assists. So it's entirely up to Christian Eriksen how much he wants it. Is he going to fight for his place at Inter Milan? At the moment in time, that's a tough one for him because, getting into Inter Milan's team is just a bit as difficult as keeping a place in Spurs' team or et cetera, et cetera. So I don't think it's working out for him. And I would imagine that in January he'll find himself a new club. It's just that we don't know where he's going to go yet.
Well, there's a few potential destinations, aren't there? Arsenal, Spurs, Real Madrid, Man United, PSG. which of those would you most likely see him going to?
Oh boy, would he go to Arsenal? North London? I don't know, maybe. After he'd been at Spurs, would he go to Man United? So Man United would need to offload a couple of players, and that is a possibility, by the way. You know, the likes of, I don't know, Pogba maybe might disappear somewhere else. I'm not sure. And obviously, they're not just going to take Eriksen and add another midfield player into an already congested Man United squad. Madrid or Barcelona, I thought might have been his destination prior to that. That's a possibility. You could still end up in Spain, to be honest. But would he come back to? And then the PSG one's obviously one where money would be no option for them to buy him if they wanted him. I just wonder whether he's got the grit and determination, having left Spurs, whether he's going to fight for his place at Inter Milan, and he won't go anywhere in January. It's a really ponderous one for us, genuinely, and I just don't get it, because I've already said I just think he's a fantastic football player, and for whatever reason he's just not delivering just now. So even if Eriksen thinks I'm not going to play at Inter Milan, he's got to look for another team in January. But to second guess where he's going, I can't do it. Honestly, only he can tell us, and we'll probably find out in January.
Well, just finally, let's look at him for the national team then, Al, because he's scored 36 goals in 103 games for Denmark. Big final few months, isn't it, this, of the season before the Euros for him?
Yeah, I mean, right, okay. We could probably mention 10, 15 players right now that are thinking, I need to play in my club team. I need to play domestic football to make sure I'm in the squad. I don't think Eriksen's got that pressure, Emma. I think he's one of their better players, which means if he sits on the bench for Inter Milan to the end of the season, he's going to be in the squad because he's such a good football player. And there's no way he really needs to fight for his place in the Denmark team, because there's nobody really better than him, although they've got some good players in the middle of the park. So I think we take that scenario out of it, because I think he will be playing in the Euros. But even he knows that to keep match fit and to be ready to rock and roll when the Euros starts, he has to be playing on a Saturday, on a Tuesday, on a Wednesday. And that's why probably, if he's not going to play Inter Milan, if he's got that mentality, he has to think he has to move in January. And that's why I think we should have him in one to watch, because when he goes somewhere else, I think he could be a big player on Football Index.
Absolutely. Well, feel free to let us know where you think he might go in January. Let us know. Pop it in the comments below. That is it from us. Cheers for that, Alan.
You're welcome, Emma.
Thank you. And thank you so much for joining us for this week's Ones to Watch, powered by Football Index, where you bet on the football stock market by buying shares in the world's top players. We'll see you next week. Cheers, Al.
Bye.